Mr. Marlon Anene joins us this morning. He's a legal practitioner. We'll also expect Mabunye to also join in. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today on the program. There are certainly several questions in the minds of so many people who are watching. From the perspective of law, governance, they just seem to understand anymore what's going on with this. But as a lawyer, looking at all of these things, particularly or perhaps in context of the legal issues too that are played out there, what really strikes you?
Yeah, good morning, Chamberlain. Good morning, Mopo. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Good morning, Nigerians. Yeah, as a Nigerian and as a lawyer, it bleeds my heart what is going on in River State. The People's Assembly was denigrated and desecrated. First of all, the River State House of Assembly is a hallowed chamber, is a protected place, it's a sacred place. Nobody can go in there and effect any arrest because of the tenets of the democracy. Now, if you look at what happened 29th of October 2023, there was arson. People went there and burnt down the People's Assembly complex. In traditional Igbo society, there is what we call Otobo, there is what we call village square, where people gather to take decisions affecting the daily lives of the people. If you go there and denigrate that place, the society will deal with you because that is a sacred place. Now, fast forward to what is happening now. Only a few days ago, the governor obtained an order stating that the building has failed integrity test, and that was an ex parte order. Then, less than 24 hours later, the building was brought down. Simply, it bleeds my heart that the representatives of the people who are elected to represent the good people of River State, the Assembly complex, if you read the Legislative Powers and Privileges Act, that place cannot be desecrated by anybody.
So who do we fault now? The state government or the judiciary that gave the order?
No! What the order given by judiciary is an interim order. It's not a final judgment of the court, but the state government has executed an interim order of the court without allowing persons who are aggrieved by that interim order to approach the same court for the same judgment, for the same ruling to be vacated or appeal against it. That was not happen. Now, if you look at what happened in January 6th in America, then a group of Americans mobilized themselves and went to Capitol Hill and desecrated Capitol Hill. Americans said no. That is where we copied our democracy from. Today, most persons have been standing trial, most persons have been arrested. Even Donald Trump himself, former president of America, is standing trial. Only a few days ago, Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, approached the Supreme Court with view to determining certain issues for determination, whether President Trump can be tried for offenses he committed in office, vis-a-vis that desecration of the Capitol Hill in January 6, 2020. Now, if you look at what is happening in River State, there was arson. Let's look at it from legal issue first. There was arson. Who was arrested? Nobody, as you speak today, nobody is arrested. Nobody is standing trial. Even the little evidence being picked up by police have been destroyed by that reason of demolition that happened yesterday. Now, if that place is demolished, if you arrest anybody to say you castrated the arson that took place in River State House of Assembly, where is the evidence? The rest has been destroyed. And that was why we were saying there are more to it than ordinary meets the eye. The reason given by the governor is that he failed integrity test. If he fails integrity test, what happened in January 6th in America? The place was cordoned off. That place was not demolished.
So does it mean that the police themselves, who ought to be investigating this matter, should probably have been there to either make a statement or make their presence felt and ask questions as to whether or not that place should be demolished?
No. You see, it's not about making a statement. As long as that incident happened, that arson happened, the police and other sister security agencies swing into action. They don't need to make a statement. We are tired of statements.
No. Making a statement, I mean, not just putting paper statements. I mean, your presence there.
Nigerians are used to, we're on top of the situation, we're working.
That's not what I mean. Because if they are present, if they were there, they could have stopped the demolition.
No, it's not about being there. The moment that arson took place, it is the duty of the security agents to cordon off the place first, so that nobody goes in, nobody comes out, so that they can get the footprint, so that they look at the video, CCTV camera, so that they can even get the handprints of those involved. That did not happen. So the police can be there, and once there is a court order, if that place was cordoned off, probably the judge that gave that order wouldn't have given that order, because there's an ongoing investigation as to who are involved in that action. Now, if you fast forward it to what happened also yesterday, the house was, before the house was demolished, the State House of Assembly, allegedly led by the speaker, loyal to the governor, sat and claimed that 27 lawmakers that defected from PDP to APC have been expelled and their seats declared vacant. Now, that is not the tenets of Section 109, Subsection 1G of 1999 Constitution as amended. It's the provision, the section provides that if there is a defection from party A to party B, and that defection has pitched the other person into another party, if there is no defection, if there is no division in that, if there is no division in the party that brought the member to power, then you can declare his seat vacant.
But here they claim that there's, in fact, for instance, several articles, several lawyers, including Mr. Fernando, who says self-inflicted division cannot be tantamount to the kind of division that the law was making reference to. And as such, the members cannot say that there was indeed division which warranted their moving to another party. And so on the basis of that, it might have been right to declare his
What Leonard was his personal opinion. That does not represent the judgment of the court. Now, the issue as to whether there is a division in a political party is not a question of law. It's a question of fact. The 27 lawmakers stated that there was a division in their party. They are the members of that party. They know what's going on in the party. And if I may ask, why did PDP allow the former secretary or the incumbent secretary to go and contest governorship election in Imo State without resignation? They should tell Nigerians what was his status. Did he actually resign? If he has resigned, was that resignation accepted? If the resignation was accepted, would he have gone back to the PDP after he lost the election to say, I'm now the secretary? The 27 lawmakers are saying that given this resignation or the uncertainty as to the status of the secretary, they cannot reach their national secretariat. They don't know who is the national secretary, who is the secretary at the national secretariat. And if you believe in me, since this incident happened, that's the imbroglio between the governor of Rivers State and Rivers State House of Assembly. The PDP has not issued a statement. They only issued a statement when these people defected. So what the party would have done is to weigh in the crisis. They didn't do it, and that is why these people are maintaining there's a division. So what Fanada was saying is that the moment you defect, you lose your seat. It's not true. But the law read constitutional provision very well. He said there must be a division, and that division is a question of facts, not law. And how does it happen? There is no the judgment is cited. It's not judgment in rem. There is no judgment in rem because there is no two cases that are the same. The court will take decision based on the facts presented before it. Only a few months ago, a serving senator defected. What was his reason? He said reconcilable differences between him and the members of his party. Now, if you take it to what this person saying, and he was allowed to defect. There was no quotation. Nobody is questioning. Even his political party are not questioning it. Now, these people are now citing division. Now, what is to be done is not to listen to what Fanada was saying. It's for people to approach the court. That section is not activated automatically because the procedure is that somebody needs to go to court for interpretation. Whether the statement issued by 27 lawmakers amounts to division in the party or not, that's a question to be determined by court. And even the order being paraded by this led faction, the order did not say that the 27 members have lost their seat. The order said he is now recognized as the speaker, so to speak. If he's a speaker, then 27 lawmakers are also, as we speak, the members of Rivers State House Assembly. Then the question you ask yourself is this. If you read section 96 or section 1 of 1999 Constitution, it says the quorum of State House Assembly shall be one-third of all the members. All the members. And Rivers State House Assembly has 32 members. If you have 32 members, meaning that you have at least 12 members, because he didn't reckon with the presiding officer. Now, if you need at least 12 members for the House to carry on the business of the day. And subsection 2 says, if the House could not form a quorum, then the necessary implication is that the House adjourns. That did not happen. Now, the House could not form a quorum, and the governor allegedly presented 2024 appropriation bill before the House.
But based on the judgment, if the members say, look, we got a judgment from court, and the court says they recognize us as the members, and so this other group are not recognized by law, what are they supposed to have done? Just wait until they can get
you are reading their intention into the ruling of the court. The ruling of the court is that Dixon here is the speaker. Nobody now, the people, the other 27, if they so feel aggrieved, they can still appeal against that ruling or approach the same court for that order to be vacated.
I thought the law also said that it prevented those other members from accessing or having their meetings in the chamber.
But that does not mean that they are no longer the members of Rivers State House of Assembly. There should be explicit order to that effect. Now, those other members have not lost their seat, unless the court now said, having defected from PDP to APC, and the reasons you cited could not avail you of that defection, you hereby lose your seat. It's on that ground that the speaker will now say, in view of the judgment before me against the 27 lawmakers that defected, their seats have been declared vacant. That section did not automatically empower the speaker to declare any seat vacant unless the issue, the facts as to the issue of defection is determined by court. Now, if you look at what the special prosecutor is doing in America, that's Jack Smith. He did not just take President Trump to court. He first of all approached the Supreme Court, and that is the procedure for a determination whether Trump can be prosecuted for offense he committed in office. Because as you speak, even you read Section 308 of 1999 Constitution as amended, once you're a former president, or a former governor, a former deputy governor, or former vice president, you have lost your immunity. But then, because they are a nation of laws, the special prosecutor approached the Supreme Court for determination as to whether Trump can be prosecuted. Now, what we expected Dixon Hayes led faction is to approach the court to say these 27 lawmakers cited the division in their party because the secretary, there is issue with their secretary, and their secretariats can no longer function. These reasons being adduced by these 27 lawmakers, can it avail them to defect from PDP to APC? If the courts agree with them, so be it. If the court refuses to agree with them, so be it. But as you speak, gaining access to the principles of the River State House of Assembly, it does not amount to stating that those members are no longer members of the River State House of Assembly. What the mistake people are making here is that what happened in Edo State a few years ago.
Just before we get to what happened in Edo State, I want to go back to the very first issue, because it would look like so far so good you've been preempting the questions. You say, well, the question you ask yourself is, and then you go on ahead to answer the question. But let's go back to the very first issue, which is the assembly now, which has been demolished. You say that it ought not to have been demolished, that investigations could still be ongoing, that the police ought to have cordoned off the place, and that would have prevented any of such acts. But everybody saw on TV, on television, the fires that happened within the complex of the River State House of Assembly, and how big an inferno it was. Shortly after, we saw the governor try to go and inspect the situation, the aftermath of the inferno. And people are saying, how long, for how long, assuming the police or the fire service or anybody else who was involved in an investigation. This fire happened since October. By now, shouldn't they have a very clear idea, or should have picked out whatever it was they wanted to pick out from the place to be able to know, if they will be able to get evidence as to the people who did such a fire or committed the arson, as the case were. It hasn't enough time elapsed for that investigation to take place.
No. Even the River State government could have as well instituted judicial panel of inquiry, independent of what police is doing, because that's a hallowed chamber. It's a protected place by law. That place, what one comes first? Is it the demolition or that investigation? As we speak, the Rivers State government has not told the world what led to the fire incident. Who are involved? The fire cannot just come and ignite in a particular place. If it's electrical fault, if it is persons believed to be hoodlums, who are those behind it? What is the extent of damage? Then that should come first before you now go into demolition. Demolition will come as per integrity test, ranging from investigation. Integrity, you cannot just do integrity test without an investigation.
Yeah, but we do not know that an investigation is not currently ongoing.
No, if investigation is currently ongoing, we demand to know, because that place is a protected place. The Rivers State House of Assembly is a protected place by law.
By who? Protected by who?
No, by law.
Who upholds the law? Isn't it the chief security officer? I recall that when the governor, went to the place and he was saying, look, I am the chief security officer of the state, and I'll be the one to determine the new place that members will be able to sit. That was what he said when he went to go and do the inspection. So protected by who? Is it not the chief security officer of the state?
You see, we are mixing issues. There was arson. That place is the hallowed chamber. If that place got burnt by fire or by any incident, then as the chief security officer, it behoves on the governor to conduct inquiry, to conduct independent investigation. We call it judicial panel of inquiry, to look into what happened. Now, is the report from that judicial panel of inquiry that will lead to step B, which is now the demolition. Now, you carry down the demolition without conducting any inquiry. If the governor is led to believe that that place has lost its integrity, so how did it arrive at that? Well, the commissioner did say that the consultants were employed in that particular quest. No, for you to even engage consultants, the members of Rivers State House of Assembly, they ought to know these are the actions being taken by the governor with respect to the places of the Rivers State House of Assembly. That did not happen.
No. So we know that all of this is not happening in a vacuum. It is happening within the context of politics. And we know that right now all is not well with the political climate in Rivers State. You've talked about an investigation, a panel of inquiry that also have been set up. That did not happen. Or that maybe might still happen. We do not know. Well, what we do know is that lawmakers have been elected to sit. And it was seen that their place was burnt. There were questions as to whether or not they will be able to sit. But we've also seen divisions, even though some people say, well, 27 against 4 is not exactly a division. I do not know how you see that and how you think that this matters can now be resolved. Because if the place where they could have sat has now been torn down, how do you see them getting around this issue of sitting in the Rivers State House of Assembly?
No, you say maybe they could have still conducted that investigation. By virtue of that demolition, that one is sealed. Nobody can conduct any investigation as to that fire incident. That one is gone and gone forever because you have destroyed the rest. Now, coming back to your question now, the governor has provided a latitude for other members to go and sit elsewhere. Because what the governor said, he's going to provide a place for them to sit. This, as we speak, Order 27, the issue for determination, the less contested is whether that 27 members have lost their seat. It does not lie in the mouth of the speaker, Dixon here, to determine the persons who have lost his seat, because he cannot be a judge in his own case. Because before now, Dixon here was suspended by the other 27 lawmakers. So on which stead is he standing to suspend them? That's a question to be determined by court. And also whether the other 4 members constituted a quorum, a valid quorum. So section 2 of section 96 of 1999 Constitution says, if these people could not form a quorum, you are John Senedai. Then if you read section 100, it says legislative, that is section 900, section 100 of 1999 Constitution as amended. It says legislative powers of State House of Assembly is exercised by passage of bills, which should be presented to the governor for his assent. Unless a valid bill is passed, the word valid is there. Now, what makes a bill valid? That the House must be properly constituted for it to transact its business. Now, if the House is not validly constituted to transact its business, What it means is that this appropriation bill and other actions taken by Dixon here-led faction is invalid, null and void, unless and until a competent court pronounces as such. Because as we speak, the other members are claiming has been suspended. That suspension has not been overturned by court. Now, he also said, by reason of the defection by these 27 lawmakers, they've also lost their seat. He doesn't have that power. Then when you take it to what Falana was saying, that once you defect, it becomes a self-inflicted injury. No, these people are now saying, we defected. The fact of their defection is there. But they are giving reasons.
Let's go to
also,
Lagos.
And if you read section, if you tie it to section, there's on 109 subsection 1G, he said provided, and that proviso.
Okay, let our colleagues in Lagos also win. Go ahead, guys.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. As Malpa said earlier on, this is primarily a tussle for political power, and then it's been escalated to the judiciary and the rest. I know there's a concern as to whether or not the judiciary, and I'm talking about lawyers and judges, are not lending themselves as tools to perpetuate this whole drama. And I know that people are watching and evaluating that. But so there are major parties in this tussle, right? So we have the governor, we have the Edison Ehie faction, 4 lawmakers, we have the Amewule faction, 27 lawmakers, and of course another name that has been mentioned time and again is former governor and minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike. Well, the lawmakers have said, well, he's not involved, that they are doing this by themselves on their volition and the rest. But we understand, we all know the political situation in the state. From what you're saying, who is in the right here and who is in the wrong? Are you saying the governor and the Edison Ehie faction are in the wrong, and you've put out different reasons? Are you saying the Amewule faction, 27 lawmakers, are in the right? What exactly are you saying?
Yeah, thank you once again for your question. Yeah, let me take you back to what happened when National Assembly was invaded by SSS. I was on this studio. That interview was conducted by Agrin Giuliani. Today he's speaking for president. You can pull back the interview and watch it. It's not a question of lawyers being used to fester the crisis in Rivers State. We cannot sit down and watch a hollow chamber desecrated for whatever reasons. Once we see, I'm here to discuss law and law qua law. It's not about sentiment. I'm not a politician. For now, I'm a practicing lawyer, and I am explaining these issues based on the constitutional provisions. It's not even a question of who is right or who is wrong. Now, if you take a look at it, one, there was a crisis in Rivers State House of Assembly. The Rivers State House of Assembly is considered for 32 members. 27 is disloyal to the governor, so to speak, while 4 or 5 is loyal to the governor. Now, this 4 group of persons, can they constitute a quorum? Can they form a quorum to transact the business of Rivers State House of Assembly? That question must be answered. Now, these other 27 that said there is a division in our party, and that division has pinched us in one of the factions, and that led to our defection from PDP to APC. Now, that fact of division in the party has to be determined by court. And that is what we are saying. It's not automatic that once a person defects from a party to another party, he loses his seat. The court will look at the reasons being adduced. Is this reason enough to qualify it as a division in the party? If the court says no, that is the end of it.
Well,
if the court says yes, that is the end of it. It's not about who is right or who is wrong. In this case, the Rivers State House of Assembly, as led by Dixon Ehie, cannot validly transact the business of Rivers State House of Assembly.
Well, Mr. Anene, so what you're saying, and I think it's quite clear, pardon me, what you're saying is quite clear, and I think you meant to say Edison Ehie. So you've said that the demolition should not have happened, so that was wrong. You were quite categorical about that. You've talked about the sitting of the 4 lawmakers, that should not have happened. So you said that essentially was wrong, and in fact the presentation of the budget, it didn't form quorum. 4 is not the same as 11. You've been quite categorical about that. For the 27 lawmakers, what you said is essentially their decision should be tested in court. So you've not said that they were right or wrong. You're saying that court should decide whether there was indeed a division or not. That should be at the court's behest. So I think what you said is quite clear. But let's expand this conversation. We're being joined now by Mr. Maobuye Nangi-Obu, who's Secretary General, Joy Youth Council Worldwide, joins us virtually from Port Harcourt this morning. Thank you for joining us on Sunrise Daily. And I imagine you've been following the conversation, and we know primarily this is a political tussle. Sadly, this is what it is right now. But what is your interpretation? I imagine you followed the conversation and you've heard the legal practitioner, Mr. Anine's point of view. What is your own point of view about what's happening in Rivers State now?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'd like to put it this way, that how dreadful it will be for the right judge to begin to judge wrong. You know, lawyers sometimes interpret and misinterpret and also misinform people and also say stuff to confuse the populace, people like us that are not probably learned. Now, the point is, there's a court of competent jurisdiction in Port Harcourt just recently, and that court gave a verdict, you understand, that here, Edison Ogaranya is the speaker and his faction, put it that way, is the authentic House of Assembly members. Whether they are one, I mean, they are two, or they are three, or they are four, or they are 10, that's immaterial. But their number should now form the normal number. And by virtue of that judgment, that only can also be tested in another court of competent jurisdiction if that same court can also give another verdict to say that Edison is no more the speaker. And by virtue of that pronouncement, the competent speaker and the authentic speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly sat with his people, and they also suspended, declared vacant the other 27. Now, let's also go back again. The reason why I started off by saying sometimes lawyers, it's not directed at the lawyer in your studio, but the point is, sometime last year or so in March, there was a judgment by another court somewhere in Abuja, where I think that was a case of Cross River, where about 24 lawmakers were suspended, in Cross River for defecting from either PDP to APC or APC to PDP. I've forgotten the party. That stood the ground. That was part of the legal tussle. So for me, as I'm not a lawyer, but I follow the law and I follow what the law has said. We cannot come here and begin to judge wrong. We cannot come here and begin to contradict ourselves, either as lawyers or as people who interpret the law. There is a court already, or a court judgment in Rivers State that have given authenticity to a speaker and his people. Those people would form the 100% that is needed. And by virtue of that, the INEC is directed or mandated to conduct election for 27 offices. And as Rivers people, we, especially Calabari people, we're going to call, see how we're going to mobilize our people to, now elect 5 different assembly members, 2 from Asaito local government, 2 from Akukuto local government, and 1 from Degema local government. The moves are already on ground. So I don't understand where, what people are talking about over there. The state should not be one man, from anywhere cannot hold Rivers State hostage. Now, let me just also clear a point. This may not be part of what you asked me. The word Asawana was valid, in 1999 when Peter Odili was made governor. He became governor through the verdict of Asawana. Asawana is, Ijaw people coming together to fight for, somebody. As at that time, Asawana was okay. In 2007, Asawana brought Chubike Rotimi Amechi. Then Nyesom Wike also benefited from Asawana. Asawana was good. In 2015, the former First Lady of Nigeria, that's Patience Jonathan, mobilized Asawana to make sure that Nyesom Wike becomes governor. Then Asawana did not irritate him. Today, Asawana is working for the real Asawana. Now Asawana is irritating people. The truth is that we must begin to speak truth to power and tell people the truth. We have a Rivers State House of Assembly. The Rivers State government has also given a position that the Rivers State House of Assembly has also, the former governor also indicated that the House of Assembly was not fit for purpose. Now today there was, an Asson They burned down the place, and the state government decided that they want to rebuild the place. For me, I'm not going to go into that politics.
Well,
if the place was good enough for people to see it, it's by the way.
Mr. My apologies for
I can hear you. Go ahead. Please.
You know,
go ahead.
At the end of the day, what is prevalent should be what the people want, or how the actions happening in River State pleases or works for the people. At the end of the day, it's just about good governance. Thankfully, you are quite well informed about the issues, and over the years you have followed it. But there are those much younger people who are not interested in what happened in 1999, who are interested in only what they can see here and now. And listening to conversations, listening to legal arguments, and listening to you, and listening to some of the things that a number of people are going to say, their confidence in governance, in the political class, continues to be troubled. How do we sustain our political structures, in your opinion, in a way that the younger generation, much younger than you, who will read these things and observe these things, will indeed have confidence in the system and not in the political players? Because at the end of the day, this is what this whole thing is about: confidence in our structures and our systems.
Okay, so quickly, if I need to provide solutions to that, it's very simple. We bequeath, insane political culture back to the younger generations and even generations. We don't have good political culture in River State. What we run is political economy. We don't even have proper economy in River State. Everything, if you want to buy Sachi water, it has to be either APC water or PDP water. This has always been the bane of our society that has become our albatross here in River State. And that is why we don't develop, we don't grow. Now, the point is, I agree with you, does the current governor, does he even have what it takes to lead us aright? We're watching. But the point is that we cannot judge this young man if you don't allow him to breathe. You ran the state from your breast pocket for the past 8 years. Everything was all about you. You still want it to be all about you. No. The point is that no. What we want in River State as young people, not even because we're Ijaws. The reason why I had to talk about Asawana, because today I represent Ijaw people. I represent Rivers Ijaw youth. I represent people. Hello.
All right, gentlemen. We need to thank both of you for coming on. So this is clearly politics gone awry. And from the point of law, I even heard the other group argue that the court did not recognize him as speaker because it was done. So there are just different things out there. So you just wonder, sometimes you can't even catch up. But we have to thank both of you. Or was that the case in the first place?
No. I have to respond to some of these questions that are coming from everywhere.
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
The position, the judgment is referring to is not a judgment of court. It's a ruling, and that ruling will last for 7. It's an ex parte order, meaning that the other party were not given opportunity to be heard. That party were not heard as we speak, and the judgment has been carried out. Now, he did not cite any section of the law. If you read section 96, it says all 1/3 of all the members of River State House of Assembly. It's not the intendment of the legislators or the draftsman of the 1999 Constitution, but that 4 persons will sit in a house of...
But the matter is not over.
No,
they're still going to go back.
It's not about the matter, but a lot of damage is being done to the system.
But
and that is what we are here to discuss.
They will still go back to court and test that probably.
No, first of all, the assembly complex, the hallowed chamber has been brought down. Yeah. Are you going to court to test that one? That place has been brought down.
We're out of time, Mr. Nene. We need to go, but not to worry. I'm sure we'll have other days to look at this matter expansively, probably. But I want to thank both of you for coming on. Emmanuel Nene is a legal practitioner, and we also did have the pleasure of hosting Maboye Nangiobu, who is the Secretary General Ijaw Youth Council. Thank you both for coming on this morning. So we will be back in just a moment. Don't go away.